Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to ThinkView and this is NK. Now, look at this photo and tell me what your thoughts are. Did you see the pattern? Smartphones nowadays are becoming more and more alike, don't you agree? They are all just a slab of smooth glass in the front with a bunch of camera in the back. And this isn't something new. It has been a thing for years now. But what bugged me so badly is that people have stopped complaining all about it ever so slightly. And also, the way that smartphone makers have shamelessly copied each other is so annoying. And as I promised in the previous videos, let's discuss this annoying issue in today's video, shall we? Now, let's get started. The first thing that I think we can all agree upon is that smartphones nowadays are merging into one single idea. Years ago, I remember that iPhone and Android seemed completely different. HTC are known to be one of the pioneers in terms of design. BlackBerry, even when they come to the Android world, still keep their identity. And Samsung smartphones are totally distinguishable from iPhone back then. And even the way that you interact with the phones was totally different. Android has the iconic 3-button. That design was the soul of Android. And then Apple launched their iPhone X, removed the home button altogether, and introduced the gesture navigation. And all of a sudden, all the Android world changed to gesture navigation also. One bar at the bottom, swipe up to go home, swipe and hold for multitasking. And immediately, almost every Android brand copied the same thing, with the same bar, the same location, and the same kind of gesture. And if I cover the upper part of the screen like this, sometimes I can't even tell which OS I'm using. But it's go both ways. Apple also copied Android quite a lot. You see, Android had widgets more than a decade ago, before the first modern iPhone even existed. Apple added widgets later and then make them interactive. And the same thing happened with app drawers. Android had always has an app drawer, you know, that big list where all the apps stay. Apple eventually introduced app library, which, let's be honest, is basically app drawers. Swipe up to see all app, auto-organized folder is basically the same idea. So over time, both sides are slowly moving toward the same direction, not because they want to, but the market pushes them to. Even the tiny details like the signal icon on the start of the videos, the battery icon, the notification shapes and function, all of these used to be brand identity. Now they have become almost identical. It's like everyone is using the same design template. And that is just about the UI. Then we have material side. Look, titanium for example. Apple first launched titanium on their iPhone 15. And suddenly, Samsung launched titanium on their Galaxy S24 Ultra. And Xiaomi also launched their titanium on the 14 Pro. It's all happened within months. Same kind of finishing, same kind of marketing buzzword, same kind of premium vibe, and don't let me even mention about the naming scheme. It's just become even more ridiculous. Like Xiaomi, they literally skipped the 16 to go straight up to 17 simply because they want to sit next to iPhone 17. Not building their own identity anymore, just trying to match the market leaders. And that brings us to the negative side. Smartphone has lost their soul. Or may I say that smartphone maker has also lost their self-respect. I remember back then that copying each other was embarrassing. You remember that Apple and Samsung used to have a huge fight over patent? That happened in between 2011 and 2018, and Samsung has to pay more than $500 million in damage for just the roundness of the phone corner and icons. Copying was shameful back then, but today, companies copying each other openly and even proudly without hiding anything. So why our phones are becoming less fun now? Well, what I'm about to say could be a hot take. Regulation kills innovation. Well, you see, USB-C is truly convenient, but forcing it on every phone from a $100 phone to a $2,000 phone is really killing innovation. That means brands can no longer create their own connector like Lightning or MagSafe. The charging and transferring file speed are now fully depending on the USB-C limit. Like most of the smartphones that sold in the EU right now, it must follow the regulation of supporting power delivery charging, or at least be compatible with such. So that will discourage the effort of inventing new charging standard, which is a unique selling point of each phone makers. Imagine a Chinese phone. If they sell in China, it might be included with a proprietary 120-watt charger. But if shipped to EU, they might just give you a 60-watt PD charger. And that is not the only regulation that limit innovation. There are strict EU environmental rules that limit what material company can use. Some high-tech coating, exotic material, or crazy new composite cannot pass the recyclability standard or chemical restriction, so companies don't even bother experimenting anymore. Things like ceramic or some fancy material is getting restricted heavily. Right to repair also sound great on paper, but they force phones to use more modular and repairable design. And that means company cannot come up with things like ultra seal, ultra thin, crazy unique design anymore, even if those designs could be more durable or futuristic, but it's not guaranteed the repairability. Radio and sensor regulation also kill innovation. A famous example is that the Pixel 4 with the Soul Line radar. I love this idea so much. It introduces a whole brand new way for us to interact with the phone, allowing gesture control and advanced sensing. But it was banned in many countries because its radio waves are strictly controlled by the government. And after that incident, many companies also stopped experimenting with radar sensor altogether. All of this creating a world where making wild, groundbreaking phones are basically impossible. So it's safer to copy the successful formula, which in today's standard are the large piece of glass with huge camera bump that has 3 to 4 lenses, and then call it a day. But not just the phone makers are to blame. As a consumer, our behavior also discourages innovation as well. We are manipulated by algorithms. TikTok and Facebook constantly tell us that it's September, time to go buy an iPhone, to a point that some might call it an upgrading season. We buy new phones because we are told to, not because we need to. So that kind of consumer behavior creates a kind of pressure on company as well, which finally remove creativity too. Because now company focus on consistency and predictability instead of taking risk. But to be fair, there's also a positive side too. Like MKBHD in one of his videos called this phenomenon second mover advantage. Being first is not always the best. Company has come later can improve idea, make it cheaper and make it more reliable. Like Apple with their widgets, although they are a second mover, but their widget implementation seems more streamlined, more elegant and more useful. Or like Android makers with the fold and flip trends. To me, the Oppo Find N5 are the winner here. With bigger battery, faster charging speed, and more comfortable in a screen ratio. So in many cases, copying each other actually benefit the consumer. And honestly, if a phone gives you a great screen, better battery, and fast charging, and a nice design, do we really need to care where the idea comes from? We should be okay as long as they copy the good stuff. So what is really happening here? Well, in biology, there's a thing called convergent evolution. In nature, different species can evolve to look similar not because they are related, but because they face the same stress from the environment. Shark and dolphin look almost the same with the fin, even though they are completely different animals. The environment forces them toward the same shape because that shape survives best. Smartphones are kinda the same too. Different companies and maybe different idea, but the pressure of the market pushes them to use the same strategy. A flat screen, boxy titanium frame, triple camera, USB-C, gestures, widgets, and app library. And it's not copying for fun. It's a survival in the strict market. And of course, there is a trade-off here. We lost all the weird, crazy, experimental design from the past. The sliding phone, the rounded backs, and the extremely unique shape. Some people might love it, some people might hate it. Well, both sides are valid. So, my conclusion is simple. Smartphone making nowadays is not a form of art anymore. Smartphones are utility. If you are an enthusiast who loves creativity and unique design, well, this era might feel a bit depressing because the magic is gone. But I really want to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment about this matter down below, okay? Now, thanks for watching. This is NK from ThinkView, and see you guys next time.